Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Facebook Live. It is Tuesday morning. It is September 5th. The Labor Day weekend has come and gone, and so have those high temperatures. We'll talk about that in just a minute here. But first, a reminder, you can find us every day on your Facebook feed. We usually go live about 8 o'clock in the morning, or you can find us later on the day in your Facebook feed. You can also find us on our Inform YouTube channel, and you can find this podcast. We make it the Facebook Live into a podcast. You can find that on our website. Just go to inform.com/podcast and look for the Inform Minute.
I'm just back to work after the long weekend. It feels like Monday, but it's Tuesday, and it feels like a whole new world is coming because it
feels like Thursday to me. It's been like 3 days in one today.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Yes, so much to talk about, and one of the things people are going to, after a hot weekend, and yesterday it was hot again.
Yeah.
That's over.
Yeah, we hit 96 yesterday.
Wow,
so
that hot.
It was hot.
Very warm.
2 degrees away from tying a record yesterday. Yesterday's record was 98
you could
from
feel it out
1979. So, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was muggy too, so that made it feel even hotter. Yes. Now, big cold front is moving through, and that's bringing big changes. So, in a nutshell, we had severe thunderstorms last night, developed down close to Bismarck, and then quickly ran up to the northeast. They were moving at about 45 miles an hour. That's pretty fast for a storm. And then they did pack a punch. We had some wind gusts well into the 70s, 77 miles an hour in Grand Forks at the airport there. That was at 12:24 in the morning. So about 12:30, that hit the city of Grand Forks. If you were awoken around that time, it was likely from that same storm. 79 miles an hour near Warren, Minnesota. And we did get some pictures of a big tree snapped in Warren. And I did just get a picture of a tree in Grand Forks, too. So we have a little damage out there, which isn't a surprise when you're talking wind gusts faster than interstate speeds.
Right, I can't believe that. I've heard you say it several times now this morning, and I'm still like processing how fast.
That's fast.
Yeah.
That's a lot of air pushing that speed. Luckily, the severe weather threat is now done. It ended at about 3 a.m. this morning. We started to kind of use up all the instability in the atmosphere. We still have a few scattered thunder showers this morning, mainly lining up with the Red River Valley. It was just raining on the roof right before you guys came down here. So we did get a quick little shot of rain here in Fargo. Otherwise, we largely missed out in town. And then scattered showers, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder will continue off and on throughout the day. I do have a list of rain reports that I just posted to my Facebook page if you want to go look at that, or if you want to add your rain report, I'd love to hear from you. I've got a list going. Okay, so that's kind of the first thing that the cold front did.
She's just getting started.
One of 4. So the other thing that a lot of us are noticing, especially up to the northwest, is the wildfire smoke. So cold fronts always pull down colder air from the upper levels of the atmosphere and shoot it down to the ground. That's how that physically works. That's what a front does. It just so happens that that air up above our heads is filled with wildfire smoke right now. So now that's coming down to the ground and reducing visibility and air quality. So that will happen throughout the day. Folks up to the northwest are already dealing with it. It's not bad in Fargo yet, but it is on its way, so it will turn into a smoky day. We also have colder air moving in, hence the name cold front. That's where that comes from. Makes sense. So temps yesterday were in the 90s, and they were through the weekend. Today, 60s to near 70, and likely losing a few degrees through the afternoon into the evening. So colder at supper time compared to lunchtime. It's going to be about 30 degrees colder than yesterday.
Jeez.
That's an adjustment.
That's a big term.
Whiplash.
Right.
That is weather whiplash. Yeah. So about 30 degrees colder. Humidity will be dropping too with that. So thank goodness. And then I'm missing one thing. Oh, the wind. How could I forget? It'll pick up out of the north, 25-ish, sustained, gusting to about 40. So that's another thing to deal with today. Hello, fall. Welcome to fall. It just all of a sudden. It was like this in the spring too. It took forever for the snow to melt. And it took us forever to get into the 40s. We were tracking that and keeping a close eye on that. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks, snow was gone, and we were in the 90s in May. So it happened like that with spring, and now it's happening like that with fall. I think we're all from around here, so we're kind of used to this. People that aren't from here are not used to sharp weather transitions.
Yeah, the seasons go really quick.
Like this.
Spring and fall. Anyway.
Yeah, so we have lots of 70s then on the 10-day forecast. And we'll watch for a chance of rain on Saturday morning. Big weekend plans, of course, with, well, we're in the thick of wedding season, but then Potato Bowl and NDSU home opener, so we'll watch that forecast closely.
Lots going on this week.
I would prefer it didn't rain on Saturday morning.
Right.
If it could wait until I was inside the dome, that would be preferred. But we'll time it out as we get closer.
Right.
And also, if we we would like to see more pictures.
Yes.
If you have, we don't want to know that there's damage, but how should they email you? Or?
Yes, you can email me. I'm lblume@wday.com. You can email our weather email. It's weather@wday.com. Rain reports, damage pictures, anything that you're waking up to, I'd love to see it.
So we know there's probably some damage out there we just haven't heard about yet. That's those winds, Gus.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And I don't know about it unless you tell me. I'm not in your backyard, so I'd love to see what you're seeing. Feel free to share any kind of reports anytime, and then continue to do so through the fall and into the winter.
Exactly.
You are my eyes. Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Speaking of all those storms and things, they did some damage up to the north, also knocked out power to some parts of the northern valley, but right now we do know most of that power, the electricity that was out overnight, has been restored, but it's kind of been a roller coaster throughout the morning. So here's the latest we have. We've been tracking those outages for you throughout the morning. Earlier this morning, overnight, essentially, more than 2,000 people in Grand Forks County, mostly within the city itself, were without power. Well, that number went down to like 30 people, so crews were out working, getting that restored. But then it went back up to like nearly 300 people. So it's kind of been all over the map, but currently right now it looks like most of that power has all been restored. And then also overnight in Trail County, right below Grand Forks County, there was about 80 or so outages. That power there in the county there has been fully restored. There's also some other just spotty outages in that region up there. So if you're without power, make sure just to contact your power company, let them know, and I'm sure they'll try to get out there as soon as they can.
A breaking story on First News this morning, dramatic video that we had on air for you. And now we have a breaking news update. We know it was a Fargo man who had to be airlifted from a crash in Clay County overnight. Our crew was there very early this morning, or late last night, however you want to look at it. A semi had rolled into the ditch. It took first responders like an hour to get that person out, the driver, the man that we know, out of the vehicle. The Clay County Sheriff is telling us this morning the driver was distracted by something in the cabin of the truck. He says it was not a cell phone, but something happened that distracted him, went into the ditch. It was a big mess. Right now, we just know that man was taken to the hospital here in Fargo, to Sanford, but we don't have an updated condition report. We're still working to learn the extent of his injury. So we'll continue tracking that story for you.
Today, Fargo City Commissioners will discuss when they should hold a special election to get voter approval on paying for that $140 million upgrade to the Fargo Dome. Of course, this is a huge story for all the people here in the city. Commissioners are looking at holding a special election on December 5th right now, but they're also worried that they could see low voter turnout if they hold that vote in the winter months. So they're going to decide whether or not to the voters ultimately are going to decide whether to approve a 1/4-cent hike in local sales tax and a 3% jump in the city's lodging tax to fund the project. But the commissioners are going to vote on when to have that vote for the people. So a little confusing, but that's happening tonight. The measure would need 60% to pass in the general election. We'll be keeping an eye on the commissioner's decision tonight. So check out the news tonight at 10, and I'm sure there'll be an update on that story for you.
Right now, Fargo police need your help finding a missing teenager. 13-year-old Eva Salinas was last seen Saturday around 2 in the morning in South Fargo. She's described as about 5'3" with brown hair, red highlights. She was wearing a black tank top and khaki shorts, Crocs at the time. I believe they have her picture posted on the Fargo PD Facebook page if you'd like to take a look. Anyone with any information, you can even anonymously text the code Fargo PD along with the tip to 847-411, or at any time call Red River Regional Dispatch.
All right, today, most of the kids in Minnesota that weren't already in school headed back to school. We know more had started a couple weeks ago because of special circumstances with the high school under renovation or whatever. But most other kids back in school today. Detroit Lakes, East Grand Forks, all of
And we know Warren because we got a picture from a viewer up in Warren.
Exactly.
I think it was the librarian there. So it was the first day back to class. So yeah, summer's over for everyone, and temperature-wise, it feels like it. So it's all right to be back.
Pretty
in the
much all those kids headed back to class right about this hour here, and they'll be getting done anywhere between 2:45, 3:30 in there. So good luck going back to school.
The Grand Forks City Council is reviewing plans for a new underpass. This is a big project. They'll select from 5 different options they're looking at before bringing one to the North Dakota Department of Transportation. There's 5 options. The one they are thinking they're going to recommend is B1. It would see the intersection of Demers Avenue and 42nd Street move farther east and rebuilt as a jug handle style intersection. The plan also, they say, has the lowest cost, best safety improvements, and fewer issues in regards to flooding. It would also allow a nearby gas station to remain where it's at. So council members will vote on the design at their next regular meeting. They hope to have construction started by 2027.
Yeah, so a ways off, but you got to make those decisions now.
Yep.
All right, it appears the latest COVID-19 variant may not be too vicious this fall. That's some good news. According to 2 teams of U.S. scientists, people who are vaccinated appear to be able to fight off this newest mutation. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, though, COVID-related hospitalizations in the U.S. have been inching upward over the past few weeks. And just last night, Jill Biden, the First Lady, tested positive for the virus. And right now, the president is still testing negative, but he's being monitored and will continue to be monitored for any symptoms or anything like that. He is supposed to head to India this week for the G20 summit. So we'll keep you updated as if that impacts that trip at all.
This is a cool story. I love when our community comes together, and the Bison football team is stepping up for our home opener this weekend. The Bison will honor the Fargo police officers involved in that deadly July 14th ambush. At this Saturday's game against the University of Maine, officers Tyler Hawes and Andrew Dotis, who were both seriously hurt in that shooting, along with Officer Zach Robinson, will be out on the field for that pregame coin toss. We've also learned that Officer Jake Walline's parents are invited to the game, but it's not clear yet if they plan to attend. Of course, Jake Walline was killed in that shooting. Also a big change you will notice, whether you're at the game or watching on TV on WDAY, the team is temporarily replacing the word on the back of the helmet. You know, right here they always have Bison, but they're changing it to Fargo, you know, like with the Fargo Strong. That's really cool.
Yeah.
The game, 2:30 Saturday afternoon. Of course, it will be on WDAY. So I'm sure Don will be talking a bunch more about the tribute and the change in the helmet and all of that. So
that's
a nice
for sure.
tribute.
And today on Hot Mic with Don Izzo, the NDSU defense stood out in the season opening win. What do they have in store this weekend for Maine? Former Pro Bison Kyle Emanuel will try and answer those questions. Plus, the Dragons prepare for their home opener after a tough road loss. Head coach Steve Lockway is going to join the show to discuss that. You can watch Hot Mic with Don Izzo this morning from 9 to 11 on WDAY Extra and Inform.com.
And right now is a great time to get your Inform.com subscription. 99 cents a month for your first 3 months. Just go to Inform.com/subscribe to check out that deal.
Yeah, and join us throughout the rest of the day for updates on all your weather that's going on today, as well as all of our local stories and national news. Our next newscast is at 11 o'clock this morning, then this afternoon, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. And join us again tomorrow morning for First News from 5 to 7 in the morning.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.